Hey everybody, welcome and thanks for checking this video out. Um, this is uh, this is my deck tech, and it's my take on kind of a deck that used to be pretty popular, the Nahiri Titan Shift deck. Um, and I've kind of tweaked it. I guess I haven't tested it yet, but I've kind of tweaked it so that I think it'll be pretty solid against the current meta. So right now, Death Shadow is literally everywhere. It is the most common deck that I've played against in queues. So I'm hoping that this formation will be pretty dominant against that. So obviously, I'm playing with Ratchet Bombs. I haven't picked up EEs yet. I mean, they're like a million tickets. They're like 70 tickets each right now, I think. So I'm holding off on those, and hopefully there'll be a reprint soon because they're going off. I know that they were just a masterpiece in Kaladesh, but still they're crazy pricey right now. So I'm holding off for now. But Ratchet Bomb seems to be doing the trick against these pesky 1 mana permanents. It does pretty well. It also a pretty solid job at taking out Tarmogoyf. But the other thing that I like is Path to Exile. Now I know I have two different arts for Path to Exile. These are all just like the Wizards promo paths. But yeah, I'll kind of dig into the deck here. So firstly, we have 3 Cinder Glades, 3 Forests, and 6 Mountains. Pretty standard for Valakut. We also have 1 Plains and a Sacred Foundry. Now, I'm not sure that the Plains is right. It might be right for it to just be another Sacred Foundry. But having a Plains allows us to cast Nahiri the Harbinger, even through like a Blood Moon. Like we can play Farseek and grab a Plains and then like exile Blood Moon, for instance. There have been a lot of situations in which Nahiri has kind of dug us out. Actually, I think I'm gonna cut the Courser of Crufix here in favor of a Prismatic Omen. I think Prismatic Omen is good enough. It can turn forests and fetch lands and plains into lightning bolts. So I think this card is pretty good. I used to play 3 of them in the old Valakut. Anyways, 3 more shock lands, 3 more stomping grounds, 4 Valakuts, 2 windswept heaths, and 4 wooded foothills. Pretty standard land suite for a tricolor Valakut deck. Usually they're like splashing 1 or 2 like dual lands or whatever. So yeah, as I mentioned before, for Path to Exile, because Lightning Bolt is not like super good right now. Path to Exile is significantly better, I think, even if it gives many decks a land. Like Death Shadow only runs 1 basic, so I think that Path to Exile is actually quite good against them because they probably only be able to grab 1 land, and then it's basically like a no life gain Swords to Plowshares after that. There's a pretty standard looking ramp suite here. 4 Sakura Tribe Elder, 3 Farseek, and 3 Explore. Explore says you may you may play an additional card this turn, or additional land this turn, and then you can draw a card. So that just lets you play 2 lands if you have 2 in your hand. 3 Farseek. Farseek allows you to search for a non-forest land and put it into play. So that's any dual land as well as the plains or a mountain. So pretty good ramp spell, better than Rampant Growth, that's for sure. As well as for Sakura Tribe Elder, which is basically just a Rampant Growth that it's on a 1/1 creature. So 2 mana, sacrifice it, search your library for a basic land card, and put that into the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. Now, Prismatic Omen basically lets every land come into play as all basic land types. So, for instance, if you play Scapeshift, if you have Prismatic Omen in play, if you have 4 Valakuts and 2 any other lands, you're hitting the opponent for 72 damage. So this is a really good way to like come back from a deck that may have gained like a lot of life, like Soul Sisters or something. Prismatic Omen's a good way to beat that. The other Valakut variants, if they don't run Prismatic Omen, just like they wouldn't be able to do enough damage in a game to actually like to win, but Prismatic Omen would let you do that. And then, of course, 2 Ratchet Bomb. Now, this is a card I'm just testing out. I haven't really tried it. And like I said, it should probably be engineered explosives, especially with a 3-color mana base. But yeah, like I said, they're very expensive right now, so I want to try Ratchet Bomb. Ratchet Bomb's been doing pretty well in a lot of other decks I've tried it in, so I'll stick to this for now, and if need be, I'll shell out for the engineered explosives. Force Search for Tomorrows. Again, another Rampant Growth you suspend on turn 1. It's pretty good, especially getting around like Blood Moon. You can play it on turn 1, like eventually find like a Plains, get Nahiri, exile the Blood Moon. Scapeshift is one of our win cons. Basically, it lets you sacrifice any number of lands and then search your library for that number of lands and put them into play. It can be very powerful. It can blow up. I mean, you can use that as like a mass removal spell if they're not within lethal range, and you can obviously just like get a Valakut and 6 mountains and deal 18 to them. So it's a good card. It's one of the cruxes of the deck. And then, of course, the namesake Nahiri. So Nahiri has a bunch of relevant abilities for us. First, you can cycle a card. You discard a card and then draw a card. That's pretty important. It takes her up to 6 loyalty as well, which is a lot. And her -2 exiles an enchantment, a tapped artifact, or a tapped creature. This kills Blood Moon, it kills Leyline, it really just removes like everything that we don't want to deal with. Nahiri is a really strong planeswalker for us. And then her -8, if she ticks up to 8, she can basically tutor up an Emrakul or a Primeval Titan. It comes into play, it has haste, and you return it to your hand at the beginning of the next end step. So Nahiri is an absolute monster. Sometimes she just ticks up twice, and then you get an Emrakul and win. Sometimes it's like, if there's an Ensnaring Bridge in play, then you just search up a Primeval Titan. It comes into play, gets 2 Valakuts, and then you can like Scapeshift or something. I mean, there's just a lot that you can do with Nahiri. Okay, we'll get to Emrakul in a second, but Primeval Titan, 6 mana for a 6/6 with Trample. When it enters the battlefield, you tutor up 2 lands. In a deck that's trying to get Valakut and 6 mountains, you pretty much got to play Primeval Titan. This card's it's bananas. Enough said, it's been around for a while, I won't dig into it too much, but Primeval Titan's great. And then, of course, Emrakul, the Aeon's Torn. Emrakul is an enormous threat. If it ever hits the battlefield and attacks, you're probably winning the game. It's just absurd. If you have a Nahiri on 8, you want to protect it at all costs, because if you can get Emrakul in play, it's going to win the game. So, yeah, I guess that's the main board. Let's look into this sideboard. 2 Anger of the Gods for those aggressive matchups that you having trouble with. Also pretty good against Dredge. Exiles most of their guys. 2 Crumble to Dust for the Mirror and Tron decks. 2 Nature's Claim. Useful in a lot of matchups. Also where people have Blood Moon. 1 Crows and Grip. Sometimes you need your enchantment and artifact removal to be immune to counter spells. 2 Obstinate Baloth, just for life gain and a big dude. 3 Chalice of the Void for combo, and then of course Relic of Progenitus for graveyard decks. So yeah, that's the Naya-colored Valakut, and I think we're gonna take this for a spin now. So see you in a few minutes. Cheers.